Platformers nowadays are mostly striving towards pixel-perfect jumps and speedruns, but it's good to see that there are developers still out there making games for those of us whose Twitch skills may have degraded over the years, but who still want to enjoy a platformer once in a while. I'm happy to tell you that there is hope for all of us in Gravity Ghost, a superb atmospheric platformer from Ivy Games. The game offers a few short cutscenes to introduce you to your character, a young girl named Iona, who appears to awaken on a strange planet with no memory of how she actually got there. Her only companion on this solitary planet is a fox, who disappears shortly after and serves as the motivation for our heroine to embark on her quest.
Where are you going?
I've seen some comparisons to Super Mario Galaxy, which are definitely easy to make. You're basically platforming your way through each level, trying to get a star and get to the exit. And the stars are what opens new worlds in the game, each of which is capped off with a boss level. While this is an easily encapsulated description of the gameplay, it's the subtleties that set this game apart from so many others. Your character is actually manipulated by the gravity of the planets in each level, some larger than others, and the navigation really depends early on about building momentum and achieving an orbit that will put you in the path of the star and later the exit door. In addition to collecting the star in each level, some contain animal spirits that you have to guide back to their resting place. Usually these resting places are in a level that you've already completed. Once the spirit is laid to rest, you're treated to another snippet of backstory, which slowly reveals how young Iona ended up in her weird, strange galaxy. What the game does is begin to layer different ways to manipulate both yourself and the planets themselves to make this much more interesting and satisfying overall, while never making it seem too easy. The first ability Iona obtains is to make her mass heavier, which allows her to plummet towards a planet at much greater velocity, and even destroy some planets which are made of glass. From there, the abilities get even more varied, eventually resulting in such things as the ability to become immaterial and plaster planets entirely. In addition to these abilities, Iona collects elemental abilities that are tied to her hair length, such as changing a planet from solid earth into water, or changing a glass planet into a fiery ball that launches you much higher when you jump off the planet due to the heat making you rise. Even with all of these gameplay tweaks, none of the levels ever felt too difficult, save for a couple of tricky stages where you have to hit a series of switches within a limited amount of time and in a specific order. Even with these difficult stages, there's actually no way to fail any level. You can take as long as you like to float in space and figure out the best way to complete it. And even if you come across a stage where the solution is eluding you, happened to me once in the entirety of the game, you can actually jump right back out to the map and move on to another stage. I've spent a lot of time talking about the gameplay, but one of the things that really captured my imagination on this title was the music. It's not surprising, since the composer on the game is the same person who did FTL, which is also another spacefaring atmospheric style game. Every time Iona was going through the cosmos and trying to navigate the planets, I sometimes found myself sitting in a level longer than I needed to just so I could hear a particular portion of the song. It's really enriching, and I recommend anyone who's going to pick up the game to pick up the soundtrack as well. In the end, the game takes about 3 to 4 hours to complete, and this was actually with me completing every single level, including the one I skipped in the first attempt, and finding all of the animal spirits. Interestingly enough, after completing the game, I took a look at the achievements, and there's some weird, interesting challenges in there, such as going through the entire game without returning a single animal spirit to its home, or grabbing all of the abilities you get at each of the end of the boss levels and keeping them with you as well. Which I think would become kind of a mess on the screen if you saw that many things trailing you all at once. Overall, anyone who is a fan of an extremely joyful experience owes it to themselves to play this game and pass it along to a friend, since every copy that you purchase comes with an additional copy that you can gift to someone else, which I think is pretty amazing.
There you are.
And it's a perfect way to spread the word about a good game that you're interested in. So instead of just talking about it, you can give it to that friend who, like, you need to play this, and then hopefully they'll buy it and pass it along to somebody else. In closing, this is John from the Infinite Lives podcast, and I'll see you in the starry skies, as long as you've got some ham.